We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully your day is going well. We're recording this on Friday night, so there's a lot of shit that happened on Friday. Some stuff that angers some people, some stuff that worries some people. So I thought I'd come out here and we could talk about it a little bit. We can have some of the folks that we normally have on to offer their insights. It's my intention to make a lot of calls, or take a lot of calls, or people requesting to come in. I want to hear a lot of people's voices because I know there's a lot of people out there that are angry and upset, and they should have an opportunity to speak their mind. I just did a live with a friend of mine here on TikTok. His name is Richard Green. He and I agree on a lot of things, and we disagree about a lot of things too. We can get into it a little bit when Richard and I talk, and I think that's why Richard wanted me on the live, just to stir some things up a little bit, and that's fine. I think that's a good thing. Anyway, we're doing my live right now, and for those of you folks that haven't been in a live before, this is how it works. We'll have some of our regular guests. We have TJ the plumber, we have Will from Georgia, and we'll have maybe Eric later on and Rebecca possibly. And we'll all be able to interact with a lot of you folks. When I do these lives, I want as many people who are listening to speak too. So this is a note to you and me and everybody. Let's keep the responses to a reasonable amount of time so we can get as many people talking as we possibly can. So we have TJ the plumber, and we have Will joining us now from Georgia. These guys can be a little excitable. TJ the plumber's doing double duty. He's out busting Trumplafucks as well as commenting here. And Will's always riled up. And we like to see that because I think that's what this Democratic Party needs. That's the kind of energy we need in order to push back against this. So TJ and Will, let's start out with TJ. The whole thing with the CR and it passing through the Senate. How'd that make you feel?
A little disappointed, honestly. And I understand that there's a counter argument that, they want the path of less evil or whatever. That's not even like using any bargaining chips. I mean, I get it that they don't want to shut down the government, and the Republicans will blame the Democrats for the whole thing. They'll say the Democrats caused it, and it'll stop services to people and things like that. But at least make them come to the fucking table. I just can't agree with bending the knee to these motherfuckers. Show them you're serious and make them come to the motherfucking table and say we want some things in exchange for voting for this, and they did none of it.
Well, Will, I want you to comment on this. I was on this live with Richard Green, and he's of the mind that Will Schumer did the right thing. It would be worse if we had a shutdown, and I understand that whole premise. But the fact of the matter is it just continues to make the Democrats look weak. How much worse could it get than what we have right now because the Democrats have done nothing? We've got to change the tone of this party. Otherwise, we're going to get walked over all the time. What do you think, Will?
Well, I've been fighting with Trumplafucks all day. They keep dropping stuff in my comments, and I'm just bringing it up to me. They want it. They got it. You can see the videos. I'm not playing with these guys. But I think someone, before you came on, I saw a video of someone who came on MSNBC, and he said the problem is Chuck Schumer thinks he's governing. The Republicans can't govern. And Chuck Schumer governed for them, and so they could take credit for it instead of fighting them. And Richard, I saw that. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong because we're effed anyway. We're totally effed. The CR fucks everyone anyway. And you gave them, as AOC said it, codified it. And the point is, people are pissed. Him and the rest of those 10 people didn't read the country. People are not worried about government or governing. They're pissed off and want something done about Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And he explained it as Coyote Katie's asking, how did he explain the major flip-flop? He was afraid that people would get hurt. Closing the government would be worse than the CR. No, what you were, Chucky, is that you're afraid that you're going to be blamed for it. Why would they blame Democrats? I don't give a fuck if Fox News blames Democrats. They're blaming Democrats for anything anywhere. This is Biden's
Yeah.
recession, remember? So
Yeah.
this thinking is why everyone's pissed off. And I know Schumer, he's upset because people are mad at him. He doesn't know why. That tells you everything.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I want to go to Eric here for a sec too, because he's of a calm, reasonable mind, and it's nice to hear from his point of view. We've talked about Chuck Schumer and some of the older people. They're past their expiration date. We need a new look for the Democratic Party. We need a new energy from the Democratic Party. And regardless of whether or not Schumer made the right choice, it looks like typical Democrats. Just give the Republicans what they want. It's like Merrick Garland saying, oh, we don't want to be political, so let's not push prosecuting Donald Trump. This has been going on over and over and over again, and this may be part of the reason why the Democrats lost in 2025. People want strong leaders that are going to be their champions, and they appear to be weak.
Yeah, exactly. And Chuck Schumer comes out and says, okay, I'm voting to get it past the filibuster. Still didn't vote for it to pass by itself, just got it over the filibuster. Well, why not? Take the chance, shut the government down. I know what he's saying by saying, well, if we give him a shutdown, that gives Donald Trump even more power. But you didn't even try to force the hand. Not really. You should have put it up for have him attempt the filibuster at least once.
Yeah.
And then see how Republicans act. But instead, you went the day before and said, "Oh no, we can't do that. We got to let them. We got to keep the government open." Well, that's like playing poker with holding your cards backwards, and that the other team or the other players see your cards.
Yeah,
Jesus
exactly.
Christ.
Well, people say, it's basically we'll get them next time. Oh yeah, when? When are you going to get them next time? They always say that. I was telling Richard Green this, and Rebecca, I want to hear from you on this. I was telling Richard Green this. Look, he's suggesting we don't have the power in the House and the Senate. We can't do anything. And I said, what are we supposed to sit there with our thumbs up our ass? We don't have many options, but the one option is to emulate what the Republicans did for the last 4 years. Bring the narrative up, get in their face, be aggressive, be assertive, change the tone. We've learned something about this last election. Policy, facts, truth, law, that doesn't make any difference to the electorate. They want somebody who's going to go out there and be strong and fight back. And if that's what it's going to take and we can't gain anything until 2026, well, then we fucking do that. If we've got nothing else we can do, we fight and we change the narrative and we take control of the narrative. What are your thoughts, Rebecca?
I totally agree with you. I think that all the Democrats are pussyfooting around. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything, like literally anything. And today I was actually kind of surprised because I thought the Republicans' plan was to keep the government shut down because I thought that they thought that was going to stop the courts from being able to file all their lawsuits.
And maybe it would. Yeah. I don't know.
So I thought for sure that the Republicans were going to be like, hey, we're going to stop all these lawsuits. Let's just get the government shut down. But I guess not. But I feel like the Democrats are literally doing nothing. And I feel like everybody is so frustrated. Like, I mean, we lost the vote to begin with, which was frustrating. And now all this shit is happening. And it seems like only the local politicians are doing anything. Like it seems like there's no federal politicians doing anything, and the local politicians are standing up. I mean, I see it all the time on my on our Facebook pages with the local government that standing up and standing out, and governors I feel like are standing up, but I don't. The Congress and the Senate aren't doing a goddamn thing. They're not saying a fucking word. Aside from AOC and the usual suspects, Jasmine Crockett, but it's just so I'm just so overwhelmed and frustrated by it all right now.
I want to say something that Richard Green said in that live. He made a comment, and this really twisted me. Well, what if all the politicians were like AOC and Jasmine Crockett? What would you get? Oh, I don't know. Maybe some people pushing stuff against Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe those guys on the they're on the back.
I don't know what's going on with your microphone, but you sound like you're underwater like 3/4 of the time you're talking.
I'm sorry, I don't have my headphones. They're dead. That's why. I'm sorry. Is that better?
That's a little better, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he said that. I'm going, what's your point? And it's frustrating for me because they're on the back foot. I just saw a video of a North Carolina congressman town hall, and people are lined up about 4 blocks, almost a mile to get in. People are pissed. People want action, and somebody goes there and goes, I don't want. What, dude? They live in a bubble, and we need to pop that bubble. It's not about them. It's about us now.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring somebody up here. I don't know if they've ever been up before, but it may bring some sophistication to the show. Somebody called the Poet. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Well, how are you doing? Are you actually a poet?
Yes, I am an award-winning poet and author.
Wow. I'm a loudmouth old white guy, and I haven't won any fucking awards for it. But so I appreciate you coming up and classing things up a little bit. What's on your mind?
Well, good night, everyone, my fellow Americans. I am a naturalized American citizen. I've served in law enforcement and education also. I am so disappointed. I am disappointed in what's going on in America now. I was told recently on public transportation, well, you speak good English for an immigrant. And I'm like, wow, and I understand you want to keep out the criminal elements. Believe you me, I understand that. You don't have to explain that to me. But what I do not understand is how you can elect a criminal to go and lead the country and expect that you're going to have, a smooth sailing. I have nothing against Republicans. All right, if you want to be a Republican, fine. Nothing against Democrats. But for God's sake, when are we going to get some sense and sensibility to see that the fabric, the Constitution is being attacked? And, they tell us not to listen to certain stations because they are, feeding us propaganda. But I have to find a way to keep informed and all that stuff. And it hurts me. It hurts me what's going on now. And if I were a young lass again, I came here, I'm now 65 years old. When I was 25 looking to migrate, I wouldn't come here. I wouldn't, with all that's going on with him at the helm. And again, I don't have a problem with Republicans. I have a problem with this candidate because he is an agent of chaos and upheaval. Right? One of a job that I had when I first came here was a nanny to 2 little white boys. And the family treated me so well. The neighborhood I worked in, for the most part, Americans get along with us, an immigrant. We get along with one another. But this man in there, he's just, I don't know. I'm a naturalized American. I took an oath to the Constitution to defend her against enemies foreign and within.
I can understand your frustration. I mean, I think we're all frustrated. What Donald Trump does, he's a person of chaos. He comes in and creates chaos. I think we've seen it when we were younger, like in classrooms or in parties or something. Somebody comes in and they create such a mess, everything goes to shit. And that's kind of what's happening now. You're absolutely right. The fact that there are so many adversaries out there. We didn't have those many adversaries before until Donald Trump started opening his mouth. And that's why I've always said the big problem here is Donald Trump. The moment he goes away and is no longer in power, things will settle down. It's going to take a while to get it fixed, but that really is the irritant right now. That is Donald Trump, his attitude, and those people that buy into that bullshit attitude.
And you know what scares me the most?
What's
You
that?
go and you pardon these people who were clearly seen on television storming the Capitol. You go and you pardon them. What? You know, I can
Well,
never
not
understand.
Well,
well, not only do they pardon those people. Now they're talking about arresting protesters who are protesting legal, their constitutional right to protest. He brought that young child with cancer up in the State of the Union, and Democrats didn't clap, and people were upset. Yeah, you don't like kids with cancer? That wasn't the point. Donald Trump was using them. And just to show what we mean is with his deportations, he just deported a family, 2 undocumented parents, but 3 kids that were born in this country. So no matter what he says, they are citizens of this country. One of those children, young children, a little girl, 10 years old, has brain cancer and is trying to get treatment. They loaded him up on a plane and sent him God knows where, and we don't even know if she can get treatment. So please stop crying for the less fortunate Republicans, because we're not buying your bullshit.
How heartless can you be? And he's trying to paint this picture of that and a narrative. I read a lot. The white race is dwindling. So this is the only way. I'm like, what madness are you telling me? Huh? If they don't, if the women want to be with, you can't control who women fall in love with and who they're going to marry. You can't control it, right? Or if you want to go and
not so sure the white, and I am of the white race. I'm not so sure the white race dwindling is a bad thing. Wow, that was hard to say.
But,
No,
that's what they're saying.
I'm an old white guy, and we ain't no big deal. I'm just telling you that right now, based on some people I know.
Please intermingle, have whatever interracial babies you want to have, because they're freaking amazing and beautiful human beings. Who cares if they're not pure white?
I'm so tired. I'm just tired. And I'll tell you, at one point in time, I was afraid whenever a white guy hit on me, I was, because I'm like, who is he? Republican? Is he a MAGA? Not me. I was like, I'm so afraid. I don't know. When you Google hate groups in America, all of them, none belong to African people. The groups that we formed in response to these hate groups, to protect ourselves and stuff. I wish you guys could explain to me. Please explain to me. I don't look at you guys and think, oh, I'm going to go do something bad to you today. Why is it such disdain toward my color? What did I do? Why is this disdain toward brown and black people? What is it? Where does it come from?
Well, poet, I'll tell you this, what it comes from. It comes from everything the Republicans do. It comes from fear. It comes from people of color, somebody different than they are, getting more than they get. Or as some of these protesters in Charlottesville said, we won't be replaced. These people are terrified of becoming part of the minority. And I've talked about this before. Somebody said, aren't you worried about being in the minority? I go, why would I? Well, then black people will have the power. And I go, listen, I've never treated people of color badly, so I don't expect they'll treat me badly if we become a minority. If you're worried about it makes me kind of question how you treated them up to this point. You're looking at possible retribution. I know the poet, I've said this 100 times, I'll say it again because I'm redundant as a motherfucker, but I have another place in Savannah, Georgia. In Savannah, Georgia, not even knowing this when I moved down there, I just love the city. I moved down there. It's 58% African American and like 38% white. No friendlier place I've ever been in my life. I love that town. I love the people of that town. I'm in the minority there. And if that's what it's like to be in a minority, bring that shit on. I'm happy with it.
And I too live in a condominium complex in a part of Connecticut. I am the only person of color in there. I'm treated well. But whenever it comes to talking about Donny Boy, some of them get a little irritated. So I don't have the conversation with them. And I let them, enjoy but is MAGA Republican or is the Republicans MAGAs?
Uh, yeah, go ahead.
There's absolutely no difference. You could see that now. They've all sold their soul.
I,
They've sold their soul. It's
I'm
over.
I'm torn on that issue because like I said the other night, like I feel like there are a lot of Republicans that voted for Trump that really don't freaking know anything about politics. Like they're so politically uneducated and they watch their freaking bullshit on Fox News or whatever. And when I pointed out to them, and it's happened several times, like my cousin, who I'm super close to, and a few other people, it's happened several times that I have spewed some facts at them, and they've, and said, look it up, and they have, and they're like, you know what, you make some good points. So, I feel like there's, MAGA's MAGA, and there's no changing their minds, but people who just don't know. They don't know. They really don't know. They really thought they were voting for the price of eggs. They didn't know they were voting against their wives and their daughters and their, what they didn't, they really, even though they said that out loud, what they were watching didn't show them that. And they really don't know.
And
We've
I
got some
have a
ill-informed,
Republican
stupid
neighbor.
people.
I have a Republican neighbor, and she says she supports Donald. And she says to me, well, look at you. Are you able to buy your own condominium? I have to rent. Why you think that is so? And I told her, because you were a chronic smoker for 40-something years. You smoked away your down payment. What else could it be? I worked very, very hard. I didn't come here to beg for anything. I worked very hard. When I tell you guys, I delivered newspapers. I cleaned people's bottoms. I cleaned people's houses, babysit their children, all that until I was able to find, other better paying jobs. But I worked my ass off. I didn't come here and sit down.
Yeah, they
And I
want to
don't, I
believe that
don't,
because
I don't
they,
understand.
they want to believe that because you're a person of color, that you somehow were afforded accommodations that they weren't because you happen to be of color, which is absolutely ridiculous. But that's how these dumb fucks think.
Yeah, well, there's
Because
no
if I
such
if I
thing as
shut
like
my mouth,
you.
you may think I'm Black American. The minute I open my mouth, you're gonna hear I'm immigrant.
They
Yeah.
they probably all think that you were just lucky. You got lucky. You got government assistance. You got this. You got
Lucky?
that. You know what?
I wish I would have
Skill and hard work has nothing to do with luck. And every single American has the ability to use their skill and to work hard and or to get educated and have a skill. And I'm not talking about educated necessarily. You have to pay for college education. Being in a trade,
Yeah.
working your way up from nothing, like that has nothing to do with luck. And so many people are like, oh well, you're lucky because you got this, you got that, or you're in this position, or you got
No,
government assistance.
I worked
It's such
hard
bullshit.
and I shopped at Goodwill stores and Salvation Armies, and I was very frugal with my money. I went up to now I still go to Goodwill stores and I will pick me up something in there and I'll varnish it and fix it up nice and put it in my home. That's the way I
Right.
shop.
We do that all the time, and TJ and I make a decent amount of money, and we still do that. Like we made half of our own furniture in our house, or
But you
we got
understand?
lucky and lucked into it. And like there was
I bought me a second-hand car because I don't believe in buying a new car. It still depreciate. I was very frugal,
Yeah.
with my money. And they think that, I was part of a DEI. I was like, what do you mean DEI? I wish I were part of DEI. I go to college. I bust my ass. That's 2, 3 jobs. Yeah, man, people, and they want to, like it needs to stop. And the diversity and the multiculturalism is the richness of America. That is what makes
Absolutely.
America great.
Absolutely. Well, poet, I don't want you. I can hear that you're a little emotional about this, and I understand that everything that's going on in this country is a little frightening. But
Yes,
you're
it is.
65 years old. You said. You said you're
Yes, I
65,
am.
right?
Yes, I
I'm
am.
65 next month. Here's what you and I know. We've gone through our lives, 65 years. We've had trials, tribulations, tragedies, shit that we never thought we'd get through. But here we sit. So we'll get through this one too. It's going to be hard, but we
And
know,
I heard
based
it
on our
says
experience, that
that
we will get
you
through.
may not be able to vote if you don't carry your last name on your birth paper. That was something they're floating.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they're going to be able to do
But
that.
then
That would,
I will be
that would affect
marching.
Republicans.
I will be
Yeah.
marching. I will go out in the streets for that. If you want to take away my right to vote, I'm marching.
I don't want to be the guy that tells my wife she can't vote because I've got personal experience and she will fuck a motherfucker up.
Cindy
That will
Walker.
definitely happen. She scares me. Anyway, poet, thank you very much for coming on. I
Thank you
appreciate it.
for having me, all my beautiful Americans. Let's all just get along, right? Let's all just get
Absolutely.
along.
Well, poet, if nothing else, the 5 of us here love you, and so do all the people out there in the audience. So you got plenty of people covering your back.
Thanks,
Thank you
Bud.
very, very much. I'm a humble person. I'm from the Caribbean, originally Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago, my 2 countries.
Oh,
I'm
I love
actually now in
Barbados.
Tobago because I left because it was so cold in Connecticut. But I'll be back in the
Yeah.
States next month. But thank you guys, my beautiful people. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you very much. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Bye.
It's always good to hear from her, and with that beautiful accent, I feel like such a schlub talking to her. You know, she seems so elegant and regal, and I sound like this dumb fuck in his living room. But I appreciate her commenting because she's always got some great points and great perspective.
I had a
Can I
thought the other day about DEI.
in the
Yeah,
So if you
comment?
own, if you're a black-owned business and you hire a white guy, is that white guy now DEI?
Yeah, he is.
Like, are we not all DEI in some respects? Like, isn't it just about like having a good mix of people where everybody feels included and accepted and doesn't that not include the white guy?
Yeah.
you would think so. You would think so. I'm going to pull somebody else up here.
But real quick,
This gentleman's name is Xavier Kavanaugh. And I picked him mainly because his name sounds so important. It's better than Rational Boomer. Xavier, are you there?
Yes, how are you? How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing just fine. What's on your mind today?
Well, most people know that I live in Washington, D.C., and I'm a senior executive in the DSCC in the United States Senate. And with that said, that gives me the privilege that I can speak for all 50 Democratic senators on certain issues.
Okay,
I'm just here
perfect.
to just listen and sort of absorb the Trump Republican House and Senate and governor's nightmare that they're causing everyone in America. So I'm just trying to just put it in the right perspective and trying to deal with it and go from that point.
What's the attitude in the Democratic Party in the Senate? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people angry with Chuck Schumer. A lot of people disagree with Chuck Schumer. I understand Chuck Schumer's point, but we've got to change the narrative with the Democratic Party. The party appears to be weak, and this just made it look weaker. What's your perspective since you're on the inside?
Well, I know what you say. I hear you in regards to my the Democratic leader. Now, what Chuck Schumer's, I think he doesn't want to cause a lot of waves. He wants to just wants to pass something, knowing that the language within his proposal, if that goes to committee in the Senate, is not going to hurt everyday Americans per se. He just want to keep the government open. Oh.
Still there, Xavier?
Sorry. Yeah, I was sneezing. Sorry. He just wants to keep the government open without any shutdown in effect. But the Democrats aren't weak. We're looking at all the legal ways to move forward, and in different states, every year we got to monitor the Republican governors. They got to go to federal court to explain their unfair voting tactics. And when I can categorically say we in the Democratic Party never have to go to federal court. So I told Abbott and I told Abbott and DeSantis they're tied for number one for cheating every year. So they're starting that up, and that's elections. That's sort of my specialty. So I got to monitor all that garbage. But the nightmare is just affecting everyone.
Well, Xavier, I'm not saying the Democratic Party is weak. I'm saying the perception is weak. I mean, in terms of running an election in 2026, you've got to give people the sense that you're doing something. And whether you're doing something or not right now, the perception is that you're not. So something has to be done with the Democratic Party to send that message better and to at least give the appearance they're fighting back. I mean, it seems like for the last 4 years when Joe Biden was in office, we keep falling down. We got Merrick Garland, who could have prosecuted Donald Trump, put him in jail. This would have never happened. But because he was worried about being too political, he wanted to be appropriate. See, It seems like the Democrats are pussyfooting around. They're trying to play by 1990s political rules, and we're in a fucking street fight. So
It's so true, my friend. I agree with you. Go ahead.
So let's be street fighters.
Yeah, I agree. The way that they sort of set this up, they're throwing 3 or 4 daily, every other hour garbage at us that we say unbelievable, not knowing that the fourth thing is the underlining Project 25, whatever it is. But it's going to take a lot to absorb this every hour garbage stuff that they're throwing at us. And I'm just trying to stay apprised of everything they're doing and trying to counter it. That's the only thing I can do at this point.
Well, Xavier, let me ask you this. Here's the big question. When I talked to Richard Green on his live, he basically was saying, nothing we can do. We just got to keep fighting, whatever. Is there anything the Democrats can do at this point? Or do we have to wait out until Donald Trump keels over choking on a Big Mac, or we win some power in the House in these upcoming special elections, or even in 2026 in the midterms? Is there anything we can do up until that point other than just sit there and get our asses kicked?
Well, surprisingly, I can show you that Senator Joe Manchin introduced some legislation in the Senate that wants a floor vote. There's just, I mean, I don't know how to say it, but there's lots of things or issues or that we want to get done to show the fairness of the Democratic Party in the Senate. But when they want to do it in a bipartisan way, but I don't, that's all I can say about
that. How can you do that if the Republicans aren't willing to be bipartisan? I mean, Congress is supposed to be a spot where there is negotiation and compromise. And in the last 4 years, we've had zero of that. There's no reason to believe it's going to get any better at this point. So as much as introducing bills that aren't going to pass or whatever, we've got to think of some other ways. even if they aren't directly helping us, at least doing something to push back and give the perception that the Democrats are fighting for the people. I've asked a lot of people that, and a lot of people don't know what really can be done. And I agree. Maybe there's nothing we can be done. Maybe all we can do is sit back and I agree. Maybe there's nothing we can be done. Maybe all we can do is sit back and take our whooping. And then when we get the power, start whooping people back. And that's where the Republicans have always fell down. Al Green steps up and says some shit to Donald Trump, and the Republicans immediately try to censor him, and they do. Marjorie Taylor Greene last year does something worse, and the Democrats go, well, it's okay. We'll just move on. We're playing the same game, but we're playing with different rules. And I think we need to change and play the same rules that the Republicans are playing against us.
I would agree on that we do need to play the same, or use the same tactics that the Republicans or the so-called mega Republicans are doing, because right now we're looking at the Republican Party with some of the true conservative lawmakers on both sides of the Capitol willing to bow out of this nightmare and publicly state that. So in a way, we're trying to let that implode and let that come to light to show that that party is going south in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Xavier, thank you very much. And please stay in touch with us. Let us know what's going on inside Congress, because a lot of us don't have a clue what's going on or why they're doing things. So it's important to hear from somebody on the inside that can maybe give some insight. So I thank you very much.
I thank you for the videos you post and your live and everything else. And I just want to stop in and say, I support you. This is the True Live. You talk about true issues that will affect everyday Americans and people all over the world. So thank you, my friend.
Well, thank you, Xavier. And we'll talk to you next time we do a live. Feel free to join us anytime. That is Xavier. And it's interesting that he would work within government in Washington, D.C. Let's go with Adam.
That sounded so defeatist. I just couldn't. Wow, that was not good.
Well, he's in a position where he's trying to deliver messages. He's not making decisions for the members of Congress, and it's a tough situation. Adam is with us right now. Adam, are you there?
I am.
What's on your mind, Adam?
Nice to talk to you.
Nice talking to you.
I've been following you every year for 3 years now, and I don't think I've ever disagreed with anything that come out of your mouth, ever.
Well, apparently I should have married you and not my wife.
Because I didn't know I had.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same for my wife. She disagrees with me a lot.
I try to catch your lives, and usually I catch like the last 20 minutes because it's a work schedule issue.
Yeah.
But I just got home. I just turned on the TV, and Trump was talking to Putin, and Putin wants, I think it's Kursk, he wants troops to surrender.
That's not going to happen.
No, it never will happen. Screw Putin, screw Trump. They're all a bunch of, they're the lowest form of life on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And it's just, and the press they're so up the butt. It's disgusting. It's un-American.
Here's what I think is going to happen. Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about the war. He doesn't give a shit about the ceasefire. All he cares about is going in there looking like the hero. Oh, we got an agreement from Ukraine. Now all we have to do is get an answer for Vladimir Putin. Yeah, that's kind of a big ask. Anyways, he goes to Vladimir Putin, and he thinks because they're buddies, he can smooze him and get him to do what he wants to do so he can quickly become the hero. But what he doesn't understand about Vladimir Putin, he's a snaky motherfucker. He's a KGB agent, and he's playing Donald Trump. He's not going to give Donald Trump what he wants. Does Donald Trump get mad at Vladimir Putin or Zelensky or everybody? Because he's going to look like a failure when he doesn't get this done.
True. He's ugh.
You
Offer me
think
the
Donald Trump's going to lose his shit?
I just don't want to go to prison for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I often told my wife, if I just had a terminal illness, I'd be a crazy motherfucker. But yeah. Yeah. Anyhow, well, Adam, I appreciate you following me, and I just want to tell folks. Actually, I should mention all these folks. Adam has a TikTok account. Check him out on TikTok. Analytical Iowan Eric has a TikTok account. Check him out. Will has a TikTok account. Check him out. TJ the plumber has a TikTok account. Don't bother because he doesn't do shit. He doesn't do videos. He's a lazy motherfucker, so don't check him out.
I keep
We got
trying
that covered?
to get him to.
I think we've got that covered. Adam, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it immensely.
Awesome. Talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you soon.
Hey, Mike.
Bye-bye.
I
Yeah.
got Dolphin asked if she could come up.
Okay. Okay, here she is. Now, Dolphin is coming up. Now, Dolphin's kind of shy. She doesn't really have an opinion on anything, but do what you can, Dolphin. I'm being a
First off,
smart ass.
I know. And I'm I just gotta breathe. I am so angry at the Democrats right now. My apologies, Xavier. He is a mutual of mine. We are friends. That was not inspiring nor helpful. I am on Social Security, disability, and this shit, plus Medicare, this shit goes through. You guys didn't stand up. If this was a time to fucking show a gosh darn backbone, now was a goddamn time.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
agree.
even freaking religious anymore. Just,
Hey, Dolphin. Dolphin,
What?
I'm on social. I get Social Security too, and next month I'll be on Medicare. And if they fuck with this shit, I'm picking you up, and we're gonna go fuck some people up. You in?
shit. 3 o'clock at the Rock, bro.
I like that. I like that.
That's how I dealt with bullies. That's how I know. That's how I know them. That's how I can recognize them. That's how I can see them. And ugh.
So, what do you
I'm
think should
sorry.
have happened today with Schumer? You think he should have blocked it?
You damn. I'm sorry. Yeah. Even though I am on Social Security, fucking shut the bitch down.
Yeah.
They should not have passed this. I don't care
You know-
if they thought if it was going to be better for the American people to keep it open. Fuck you guys. I'm sorry.
You know, every time I hear about the prospect of them doing something to Social Security, I always think of a response. Now, she didn't say it, but I imagine her saying it. And if somebody said, talking about cutting or taking down Social Security, I hear in my head, see temptation going, I wish you would. I wish you would.
Yeah, well, it doesn't. It. I may be upset about it, but it was the Democrats that should have had the damn backbone to freaking stand up and say no. We know the American people are going to be pissed off at us, but fuck that shit. We ain't pushing that shit to harm the American people. And they put us in harm.
What I've told people who said that Schumer did the right thing, they said it would hurt people if we shut down the country. And this is what I have to say to that. Haven't we already shut down portions of the country, letting Elon Musk doing what he's doing? Haven't we already hurt people? Sometimes when you're in a fight, there is collateral damage. You got to fight back in order to win the fight. And I haven't seen the Democrats fight back at all. And that's what's troubling. Every time you think they're going to do something and they have the opportunity to do it, they always shit the bed. And this is what's frustrating. It's not even about doing the right thing. It's about doing the strong and the assertive thing to show that you do have a backbone, that you're going to be there and slap the taste out of their mouth if you need to.
I was in Oh Boy's live that you were in, and he was like saying that it's not Schumer's fault, all this other crap, blah blah blah, and my my jaw dropped. I was like, Schumer was the one to call the fucking vote. How can you sit there and say that it's not Schumer's fucking fault?
Yeah, it is his fault.
I'm sorry, but that guy was wrong.
Well, Richard Green asked me to be on his live, and I wasn't going to do it because I've been doing this live. And I thought, well, what the hell, I'll do it. He said something, it could get spicy up in there. And I said, okay, I know why you want me on here, because you know I'm going to disagree with you, and you know I'm not afraid to say something. Like, he went on kind of a rant for about 10 minutes, and he said, I want to know what you think. I said, well, if you fucking stop talking, I'll tell you what I think. And I think he might have been hurt by that a little bit, but hey, I'm just being honest here. Richard Green's a good guy. We agree on 98% of the stuff that we talk about it. We just have different approaches. He's not aggressive, and I think that's fine if that's what he wants to do, but we've been doing that 4 years. If something doesn't work, how about do something different?
I joined that live. Mike did say that. But I have a suggestion. I think that Will should join Richard's next live.
I asked him to invite, and he ignored me. He doesn't want me. He doesn't want to part of me. I heard that, and I heard him chat back at Mike, because Mike had a long thing. He goes, well, you go an hour. Oh, yeah, I know what that meant, lawyer. And the point is that he's appeasement. Everything is appeasement. Everything is like, you should get along. We're beyond get along. Okay? We're done.
Yeah,
Get along is
I
like,
agree.
the one thing that I was seeing in a lot of things, who's going to fight for us? Nobody. This is our fight. This is what we're going to do. And now it's like, and I said this in a video, and forgive me, I'm a nerd, but it's the truth. It's like Captain America said at Endgame, when he said, don't like it, if you try to fight us, we'll fight you too. It's all us. Because the Democrats literally ceded the playing field. Chuck Schumer is 74 fucking years old. It's time for term limits. Chuck Grassroots is Eric? 80, 100, 260? I know, I lost count. There's dirt in Iowa.
Yeah, he's 300 years old and still getting Social Security. It's fucking crazy.
God, Chuck Grassley.
But Chuck Schumer right now is running around going, what did I do? What did I do? Dude, and he's getting mad at the House Democrats for calling him out. Dude, you are literally dead in the water. You don't get it. You're watching right now politically. You don't get it.
I've had this fantasy. We have so many Democrats that I think are worthless pieces of shit. They're lazy. They're too meek, too mild. And I've had this thought, too meek, too mild. And I've had this thought, and I want you guys to tell me why this wouldn't work. Well, maybe it couldn't work because it'd be hard to coordinate it. But we got the Democrats coming up with the same kind of candidates. And people have said, well, let's start a third party. That won't work. We know why, because there's too much money and they would be froze out. But what if we could pull together a bunch of big creators, medium creators, small creators, and the rest of the people that follow those people and start drafting our own candidates, like when Chuck Schumer runs? What if we could find a candidate that would be a good potential opponent for Chuck Schumer? We've got the ability to promote the fuck out of it. If we've got enough big creators and medium creators and small creators, we can promote the fuck out of them for free. We could probably do some kind of fundraising for them too, if we all got together and blow these fuckers out. Take Nancy Pelosi out, take Chuck Schumer out, take whoever out. The point is that we, the people, have to take back some power. And as long as the Democratic Party and the Republican Party continue to do what they do, they steal power from us. So we've got to find a way to take the power back and tell them to fuck themselves.
Right.
But
And Mike, I agree with you on that, but the only thing that's tough about it is that regardless of us wanting to make these people go away, there's usually a lot of unity in an incumbent, and that's where we're going to run into a roadblock. Is that incumbents generally get the support of the party in their area. They don't like whether it's Republican or Democrat. They don't like to go against the incumbent unless the incumbent really does something that's egregious, right? You
Yeah.
know, so
I think
that's
Chuck just did, though.
well, yeah. I don't disagree with you on that, and it's very disappointing. But that some of these other ones that are kind of like ineffective, it's hard to prop up a campaign against an incumbent. It really is.
The problem with this idea is you're saying, okay, we should primary out Chuck Schumer, and like TJ said, he's the incumbent. They'll rally behind him, and while we think that what he did is egregious, and I'm in that kind of agreement. It's not so much that he eventually got it to pass. They didn't even put up a fight, really. Just kind of came down to the wire and said, okay, we'll roll over. The problem is he can defend this. It's defendable. He can come up with it, and some of the voters are going to at least side with him. It's not the type of egregious shit where all of the voters are going to say, yeah, most of us want you gone, and they'll back a primary challenger. It doesn't matter how many big creators you get out there.
Yeah.
Him being the incumbent is going to hold. That's why even when Chuck Grassley held up Merrick Garland's nomination to the Supreme Court, the Republican voters in Iowa didn't see that as a big enough problem because he could defend it enough, and he's been reelected like 3 times since then.
Yeah.
But
Well, then maybe what we need to do is what we're doing with Republican reps and senators. And I think that's already happening to Chuck Schumer and some other ones. They're getting, I heard on TikTok some voicemails that were just really bad for some Republicans and for Chuck Schumer. But we need to make our irritation known, and we need to show up to even the Democratic town halls like Chuck Schumer, whoever has, and let them know what the fuck is up.
Right.
Let them know the people are pissed off
and
and
goes-
that they are at risk.
And it goes back to what I said a while ago, is that when we're dissatisfied with what they're doing, flood their voicemails, flood their emails, make it so they can't even read their emails because they're getting so many fucking emails. That's the only
Right,
way.
go ahead.
That's the only way they get it through their heads.
the thing
Go ahead,
about-
Will.
Yeah, the thing about it, Eric, is that I hear what you're saying, but that was the old world. Because by the time the midterms come around, we're going to be in a huge recession / depression. Congress, government is going to be in chaos. Elon Musk is going to be done running around. So whether people are going to turn around and go to Chuck Schumer, you could have made a stop on this. You could have forced his hand, and you didn't. So even though it might be down the line, it's going to be so bad they can't defend it. You can't defend shutting the government down that already collapsed. You see what I'm saying? This is a big world, and they keep working in this old political thinking that is going to bite them in the ass. It's not going to work. It's time for them. It's time for them to go because people who are on the front lines are stepping in because they're still stuck. Everything will be okay. It's not going to be okay. Sorry, guys.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Dolphin.
can I bring up one other thing that we're just
Sure.
completely and utterly forgetting about? The and I'm gonna put this in that one Georgia woman's voice. That megalomaniac that's in office right now. I just want to ask. He already thinks that he's got unfettered power.
Yeah.
This just gave him more, and Elmo freaking more power. We thought that what is it, 53 days? 50 days?
Yeah,
We're
around
at-
that.
This is going to get it's going to get whatever that thing charges at is Mar-a-Lago. Uh,
Yeah.
that times worse.
Yeah, it's going
I'm a
to.
little bit worried
And we've
about
said
him.
that, yeah, we've said this before, though. Apparently, with the way the American people are, it's got to get bad before they fucking learn a lesson. And that's unfortunate. It's upsetting and it's worrisome. But it seems like, I mean, I still talk to Trump fucks that are still stupid and don't understand what's going on. But as things get worse, I mean, people are protesting, people are calling, people are going to town halls. It's bad now. It's only going to get worse. And there's going to come a breaking point for the Republicans where they just can't tolerate it anymore. They can see that it's breaking their party apart and it's going to cost them a lot of fucking elections.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna drop and let somebody else come up, but thanks for hearing me out. I was just a little angry when I heard Xavier up here, and I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. And it troubles me when I see people like you and the poet come up and you're worried and you're upset and you have every right to be. That's not where we should be in this country. That's not what politicians should be doing. And, I don't know what any of us can do about it, but speak out, push back, and slap the taste out of some of these motherfuckers' mouths because it's really frustrating, and I understand that completely. So just know this, Dolphin, we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep being loud, and we will get through this ultimately. Ultimately, we will get through this. It's just a matter of how badly we're going to get beaten in the process. So thank you, Dolphin. I appreciate it.
thanks. Have a good one."
You too.
Hey, I did get a flyer in the mail today, and just so you guys know, Kohl's has a sale right now. Men's pants are 50% off. So, Eric, if you're not busy tomorrow, you can roll on over to Kohl's, grab a couple pairs of pants.
Actually, I was on TikTok Shop, and you can get 3 joggers for like $15, so that's not a bad deal.
Hey, TJ,
That's
you should tell them about Mike Kelly and the parade.
Oh, my God. So, I'm so glad you reminded me of this. So, we have a St. Patrick's Day parade here in the city, and Congressman Mike Kelly, who's a Republican in our gerrymandered district that's so great, he was supposed to come up and participate in the St. Patrick's Day parade, but guess what motherfucking happened? Mike Kelly today sent a letter and said that he's not going to be participating in the St. Patrick's Day parade. I wonder motherfucking why.
pussy ass bitch. That's why.
Because he can't face his he can't face his constituents based upon what's going on right now.
There are like 1,000 Facebook posts like on the Erie pages and our friends' pages like, come on, Mike Kelly, do a town hall, do this. Nobody can freaking find him. Like, this is literally the first time he's come out publicly or somebody's come out publicly and said, oh, something about Mike Kelly, like that he's not going to the parade.
Yeah,
he is in freaking hiding for his freaking life right
this
now.
Motherfucker's
And
MIA.
I'm not even kidding.
He's MIA.
I'm pulling somebody else up here. Leah joins us. Welcome, Leah. What's on your mind today?
Well, one thing I had to do, what I thought I'd never have to do, is my niece is graduating, and she's part of the LGBTQ community. And I had to talk to her about getting her passport and to look into visas into other countries for young folks to work elsewhere, because I just feel like this country is just not safe for this community anymore.
It seems like it.
And it's getting worse. And I'm pissed that we had 5 past secretaries of defense write a letter to Congress saying shit's not right. And one of them was one of Trump's, in his last term. And I mean, there's just so much going on. It's just one dumpster fire after another. And it's kind of starting to look like that we, the people, need to get even louder than we are.
I agree.
And I've taken a look. I mean, we're a huge, massive country. And we aren't small like Greece. Like Greece recently had a general strike when they got pissed off at their government. But we are so big that organizing something like this would be almost virtually impossible. And I'm looking at the numbers. I'm trying to figure out how to word this to our unions, because so many of our unions are being affected. And the only way that we could have a general strike in this country is if our unions lead it. Because to have a general strike in this country, we need at least 3.5% of the population to make it, which is about 11 million people, right?
Yeah.
So if our unions all striked at the same time, we'd have over, I mean, it doesn't even have to be all of them, but a majority of them, um, with our major and our minor unions. It's one reason why our government and our corporations don't like unions,
Well,
because they have the ability to bring it bring it
Leo,
to a
we have the
halt.
we have the good fortune of having a union leader here. That's
Awesome.
TJ the plumber. So TJ, take it away.
so that is in theory a great idea. However, I will point out that a lot of union contracts in their collective bargaining agreement, they have what's called no strike, no lockout. So if they were to strike or to do a action where they walked out of the job or whatever,
Hmm.
they're actually in violation of their collective bargaining agreement. So they can't do that.
Ah,
They can't take an official action because it works. It's a two-way street. The employer can't lock them out of the workplace, and the union can't have an I guess an illegal strike, right? So
right,
in their collective bargaining agreement, my collective bargaining agreement includes this. Like, there's no strike, no lockout. We can't have an illegal walkout on the job. But that doesn't mean that union workers can't call off. So,
right,
you know, hundreds of thousands of union workers could one day say, "Oh, I'm sick today. I'm not coming into work."
right.
So,
The post office has that as well, right?
I'm sorry.
The post office has that as well, right?
I would imagine that the USPS has a no strike, no lockout.
I know that we do here in Erie. I don't know if that's a
And and and
nationwide thing.
and I believe that the U.S. Postal Service, there's no work stoppage. So even if they don't settle a contract, they can't not do their, like, they can't not report to work. They have to still report to work while they're negotiating their contract.
Yeah, Key, if
Ah,
you're still in
see,
here,
this
you
is where
can
I need to get
confirm that.
educated because I mean, I'm looking at all these different major and minor union numbers because you can see how many each union has member wise, and it's
Yes.
over 11 million people, and that's how
Mhm.
much you need to have a general strike to be effective in this country. Now,
Well,
with your everyday employee, like your cashiers and your cooks and your dishwashers and your servers, it's hard for them to have that trust that their fellow employees are going to actually, you know, not go to work that day, at Walmart or can't, at Target or whatever. Um, so it's just like having groups of people that say, yeah, I'm not going to go to work that day and have it spread out amongst a huge group and many groups that, you know what I'm saying, that are more organized and they say, hey, we're all doing this that day. And then the, like the minimum wage folks can be like, they're doing it that day, we're going to do that day too. So that's what I was thinking.
yeah. I mean, 11 million people not showing up for work in a day would, or a couple of days, would be
It, it,
definitely an effective message to corporations and the
the,
employers, for
and the
sure.
oligarchy for
And
sure.
a lot of people, I'm sure, have that time that they can do that. So
And the boycotts are certainly affecting Elon Musk and some other
Right.
other corporations are
Yeah.
suffering through it too, and that's something we have to continue to do.
All right,
What's
you throw, a nationwide strike on top of the economic strike. These guys are gonna have to listen to us,
and,
you
and
know?
and I think that the employees at Tesla domestically, the ones that aren't H-1B visas, would probably be willing to do that because of how bad they're getting screwed by Elon Musk. They would probably be all on board for that.
I'm surprised many of them haven't walked off the job yet, to tell you the truth.
Well, and Mr. Suave said that there are more countries opting out of Starlink too. He's taken a beating with his Starlink company. You know, Canada, people in Europe. They're going to starve Elon Musk when it's all said and done.
Let me tell you what's going to really affect Starlink, and I swear, I feel like revelations have come. NOAA, before it disappears, has sent out a geomagnetic warning for this weekend. There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
huge series of
I was just
sunspots
thinking that.
hit off, and starting tomorrow night, there could be disruptions of magnificent portions. You might see the northern lights as far south as Alabama. That's huge, and that's going to affect satellite.
Everybody manifest that it.
And that's going to affect satellite.
Everybody manifest that it hits his Starlink.
Everything
TJ,
that
thank you. I learned a lot from you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, just when you have spare time, Google "no strike, no lockout" and collective bargaining agreements, and you can research that a little bit.
That's helpful. Very helpful.
Well, Leah, thank you very much. I appreciate you participating, and feel free to join us again anytime. It's always good to hear reasonable, intelligent people.
I'm always on here. I watch the videos frequently. I'm usually just ghosting on here, but I had this idea and I wanted to share it and I wanted some advice, and it's nice to hear. So I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely.
Keep up the good work and stay loud and stay feral, folks. And transcend the bullshit. Transcend that bullshit.
I've been trying to do it for 4 years, and I'm going to continue until we rid ourselves of all the bullshit. Thank you, Leah. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
guys read that crazy? Trump took over the DOJ speak and went. What the hell was that? That was insane. It was totally insane.
Well, your like underwater voice is like really.
I'm sorry. I left my headphones on.
There you go,
Yeah,
Will. That sounds
yeah,
better.
just get closer, Will.
Yeah.
The point is, it's like, did you see that? Did you hear what he was talking about? Did you see he said in the White House that Canada should be part of the United States because someone drew an imaginary line?
Yeah.
He doesn't believe the.
How long do we put up with this? It's insane. We're being run by a crazy man. I'm sorry. It's the truth. And they work.
That's not the dumbest thing he said. He also said he wants to change Washington, D.C. to Washington, D.A. It should be District of America because we're nowhere near Columbia. Dumb motherfucker.
He's the dumbest motherfucker. He really is.
He doesn't realize that it was
He
called
literally
Columbia
thinks it was
because of
named after
Columbus.
Columbia and not Columbus. I like, oh my god.
It's
That's unbelievable.
And I looked it up, and district, obviously, because they cut out the district. Columbia and Washington for George Washington. Columbia is the female representation of the United States. That's what they named it after. And I'm like going, I heard that, I'm like, and I know all the trumpet fucks were sitting there jumping up and going, yeah. God, it's like watching music.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. You guys want to straighten up now. I got Trucker T here. Trucker, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, sir. Hey, you know what? That's not even the dumbest thing that he said, right? I didn't even come up here to talk about that, but I understand that there's firefighters getting pew-pewed off of ladders now. Meemaw is losing an hour because of the time change.
Yeah, she died because daylight savings time. What the fuck? Come on. How can anyone take that shit seriously?
Exactly. So the reason why I wanted to come up, I wasn't going to come up, right? But listening to you guys and looking at the comments, there's a lot of people saying, hey, you know, you guys are so smart and, you know, these comments are hitting home. And, you know, I get on Will's podcast and, you know, he gets on mine or whatever the situation is. And I see other podcasts, your podcast that puts out all this great information. And then I look into the comments and I see Mega for Life or Trump is your daddy. And I'm like, I
agree.
When will it hit them? I don't understand. Like, there's so much information out here. There's so much goddamn information out here where you can educate yourself, right? Just take 2 seconds to read a paragraph.
Well, Trucker, you have to understand one thing. Sorry, Mike. You have to understand
No,
one
that's
thing.
right.
There's a faction of those people who are never going to get it. They're never, ever, Donald Trump could order a nuclear strike in the middle of LA, and these dumb motherfuckers are still going to fucking go off the cliff with him.
Yeah.
However, the ones that are kind of like willfully ignorant, I guess, they're learning some shit right now. And the reason why I believe that is because of what's happening with the town hall meetings. And Mike Johnson can lie and say that it's paid Democrats that are going to these things, but it's not. It's not. And there's a lot of pissed off people that, they feel like they got the rug pulled out from underneath them because of what's happening. So some of those people now are starting to hit the wall. And I think that's going to be a pretty progressive change for us in the midterm elections coming up. So are the MAGA diehards going to change? Fuck no. They're not going to change. There's no change in them. We know that they're fucking stupid. They're fucking in a cult, and it's not going to change. But I think some of the more some of these people with more critical thinking skills are realizing now that I might have fucked up, and that's why.
Yeah, you're
So
A lot of those hardcore MAGAs, they don't care. Like, they literally want the
No.
chaos. Like, they know what's going on. They literally want the chaos, and I see it. I see it in Facebook comments.
Yeah.
And I see it in Facebook posts left and right. Like, they literally are living for the fact that he's creating this chaos, and they think that there's going to be some great good that's going to come from this, like, purge and this freaking chaos he's creating. It's like they don't have any agenda other than to, like, own the libs and create the chaos.
Well,
they really don't.
that's because they love the Yahtzieism, and they love the anti-women stuff, and they love the racism. They love all those things. So you're never gonna sway them or change their way of thinking, because that's the ultimate goal for these people. But
Thank God I'm not married to one of those.
And they want their checks. They want their checks. They're still waiting for their checks.
yeah,
they're
going to get their checks.
People come to me and say, well, you got to accept them in. You've got to kind of educate them. I've
fuck
done this
we
for
do.
4 years. I've talked to Trumplafucks. Trumplafucks have listened to me. They haven't been able to learn anything. They can't grasp truth. They can't grasp anything of any substance. They're a lost cause. Now, Trucker, you brought up, you added to the stupid comments, and there was another one I talked about in a TikTok, and Aiden reminds me of it. Donald Trump was talking about Tesla. He was talking about the guy Tesla, like he knows who the fuck that is. But he's talking about Tesla, not the car. And he was saying, yeah, that guy was amazing, from the light bulb all the way to what's going on now, meaning the Tesla cars, as if Tesla actually had some input on it. And then he says, he was a regular Isaac Neutron. Oh. I'm going, this motherfucker is mixing up the greatest scientist in history with Jimmy motherfucking Neutron, a cartoon from the 90s. What? That's who you voted for, you stupid son of a bitch.
With Tesla, which is a huge mistake.
So I want to ask you this, and then I'm going to let somebody else come up. So
All right.
back when, during the George Floyd era and all that BS that was going on, and they were talking about defund the police, and that was the biggest thing that was out there, right? Oh, the Democrats want to defund the police. The Democrats want to defund the police. And that was their talking point, right? Up until today, I guess, because they started defunding the police, the Republicans.
Yes.
have. And they're not talking about it. And another thing they're not talking about, we had a 50-state veterans march to protest what the fuck is going on right now. And it has not been on any airwaves anywhere.
Thank you, T.
You're absolutely
I was just
right.
gonna ask you before you left. I wanted to know how that went because I was working all day and I didn't get a chance to
It
take
was
a look.
fabulous. And they are still out there, and they are, just giving it up. I mean, you got guys chaining themselves to poles. You got people not going back to work after
Wow.
lunch. They're doing it, but it's almost like they're not doing it because they're not televising it.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it in the media, and I thought, oh, it was a bust.
Nope.
But then I never considered the fact that the media would try to ignore it. This is why mainstream media is dying, and it needs to die fully.
Yeah, I put a few, one or two posts of it in our little chat group where they were out there. I mean, all you can do is just search Veterans March, and you'll see them. They were out in full force, but it got zero coverage. Which
Yeah, I
is
have to go back and look at it. I was so busy, so I didn't have a chance to
somebody
look at
said
the thing.
MSNBC showed it. Good.
Oh, really?
I bet Walt Masterson's out there showing it.
Yeah, I bet he is. I bet he is. Somebody's got to show this shit. Yeah. I was glad to see it. You know, the veterans, they encompass a bigger crowd of people. Like I said, with Social Security, if you want to take away Social Security, it's not going to be just people with air tanks and fucking walkers. It's going to be their kids and their grandkids that now have to take care of these people if they lose whatever support. And the same goes for the veterans. There's a lot of kids and grandkids that care about their veteran parents or grandparents, and they're going to be pissed too. And I'm glad to hear it was successful. I'm going to try to find some stuff on it in the media and on YouTube and such, so I can get a real sense of what happened. Because I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't big news today. I thought it should be.
Yep. They suppressed it. So,
Wow.
anyway, well, hey,
That's a
thanks for
question
bringing me up.
Yeah, thank you, Trucker. I appreciate it.
Thanks, T.
Yep.
Yeah, they can suppress the coverage, so they're not going to suppress the people. That's the thing.
Right.
You can keep suppressing it, but it's going to gets bigger and bigger, and it's rolling up. It's rolling up because people are just sitting there going. The Lincoln Project did a video today, and it sounded like all of us here, showing the protest, showing everything, and they keep waiting for Americans to capitulate. We don't capitulate, and they use the term. And I'm listening to think, fuck that. We don't capitulate. Yeah. We don't quit. And that's one thing that the Democrats didn't get. Chuck Schumer doesn't get it. We want you to fight for us, even if it's a symbolic one. Even if you
absolutely
fight, just give us something. But what you did was show that you're not with us. Fine.
Yeah.
And get the fuck out of the way. Because we're not.
All right, I'm gonna bring some more people up here. This next person, I believe her name is Bibi Nas. Hey, Bibi, how you doing?
Hi, everybody. How are you this evening?
We're doing well. What's on your mind tonight? I can only imagine.
A lot, as everybody. Yeah. But there was something I caught as I was passing through this that I wanted to discuss, and there's actually a couple thoughts that I have. But I know you made a point about that we need to get rid of legacy media, and there is a lot of animosity and mistrust for media, and I don't blame anybody for that. But don't we feel that there's a need for that? Because the moment that we start pushing against not having media, I mean, we're basically setting things up for tyranny or anything else once we silence journalists.
Well, that's true. That it's a double-edged sword. They aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Here's the problem, Bibi. We don't have journalism anymore. That went away when they got rid of the fairness doctrine back in the 80s with Ronald Reagan. The problem is the people that own the media are all wealthy oligarchs or whatever you want to call them, and they are controlling the narrative. And they don't want Democrats or liberal folks to get the kind of exposure. They're doing everything to expose the wealthy. And I think you're right. This has to happen organically. To take down MSNBC or CNN or any of those places, it would be impossible to do. But when we see people walking away in droves from these media outlets, coming to the internet, to the Midas Touches, to even this kind of live or whatever. Yeah. I think that's where we're headed. I think people are frustrated because they don't get to hear what they need to hear. I think it's going to happen organically. These people are going to die on the vine. Hell, MSNBC wants to be sold off and turned into an entertainment channel, for fuck's sake.
The Fox.
Yeah, no doubt.
So the other thing that I think was pointed up was, okay, yes, we're talking about people coming out in masses, and we're not seeing enough of what is really happening, right? And I had a very good conversation with a friend earlier today, and she was trying to talk me down from going to a protest and a march, and she is literally scared for me because I am not white tea. And
Okay.
I feel like I feel like this is a good audience to bring this up to. But there are a lot of people that are, relatively marginalized that hesitate to do this right now. Why? Because I think the thought is that the moment that more of us are also in the forefront, that there will be more potential, right?
Yeah.
And I told my friend that I'm really depending on the rest of you to kind of start the wave so that the rest of us could join. Is that
Absolutely.
a terrible thing?
No, it's not a terrible thing. Not everybody can be the shit stirrer. That just happens to be one of my expertises, being a shit stirrer. And, it's not just me because I can only do so much. I can only do so much. The other creators, the other people in media or social media have to stand up and speak out and not be afraid, whether it be TikTok trying to take you down or, people always ask me, are you worried about Trump-la-fucks coming after you? I'm not because they're pussy-ass bitches, as we know, and they don't like anybody who's willing to fight back. And I can guarantee you, go ahead, try it. We could
You're
have
also
you.
a white man, so you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's
where I'm coming from.
And
Rebecca,
good
by
for
the
you.
way, I'm also a
glad you do.
Rebecca.
I think because I'm an old white man, it's my responsibility to speak up.
I agree.
I
and I'm
love
glad
that.
you do.
I love that. And
have-
I just feel like, and I don't feel that enough people understand that and see that we need that.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of advice. If you feel motivated enough to be engaged in a protest, here's what you do: dress in all black, wear a mask and sunglasses, and a hat, because there's going to be a bunch of people dressed just like you there, and they're not going to be able to discern who's who.
True. Yeah. I would go there hoping to get recognized.
Well,
Kind of like David Spade. I go down to the Grove hoping somebody recognizes me. Yeah.
Yeah, but not everybody has your complexion and you can do that. So
Yeah.
I think
You're absolutely right.
it's also our circumstances. I'm a single mother. I can't afford to potentially, be scooped up and away from my son for however long.
Understand.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know if it's going to go that far. They
well,
threatening
in
it.
some instances it is going that far.
I mean, didn't they just do that at the Trump Towers in New York? I mean, granted, they were doing the
Yeah, they
sit-in,
were
but
however, the Trump Tower situation was different because Trump Tower is private property.
okay.
So when you're in private property, you're not supposed to be there, and they ask you to leave, you have to leave. I mean, that's just how the law works. But when you're in a public place, if you're on the courthouse steps of your city or on the steps of your capital, that's a public place for you to redress your grievances. Redress.
We know.
Don't regress them.
Not regress. Your grievances with your government, and that's fine. So the people that got hauled out of there, they were technically trespassing.
Right.
So that's the difference. And if you're protesting peacefully and you didn't commit a crime, you can't be arrested. And if they arrest you, you're going to be rich because you have a lawsuit that an ambulance chasing lawyer is going to love.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. But like I said, being incognito is a good idea because there's a lot of stuff going on with surveillance and facial recognition. So dress in all black, wear a face mask, wear a hat and sunglasses so you're not identifiable.
Particularly
I will
if
tell you
you're
this.
completely legal and have legal paperwork. Like, just
I will tell you this: if somebody wants to scoop me up, they better have some money because I can fucking eat, and they better have strong Wi-Fi. Otherwise, this isn't going to work.
and they better hope Cindy doesn't find them.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah,
keep reading
yeah.
that Trump Tower is a public place. How is that possible?
It's not
I'm
a
hearing
public place.
It's not a
conflicting
pub.
information.
It's not
on
a
that.
public place. No, it is not. It's absolutely not.
Because they go and they're asked to leave the building, which is the towers, and you refuse and sit down, they can arrest you for trespassing.
Yes.
Right.
I know this, but I keep seeing someone keep saying that Trump that was a public place.
It's not a public
No,
place.
no, it's
It
not a
is
public
not.
place.
It's private
It's
property.
a private business.
It's
If
private
you stand
property.
across the street, you're fine. Don't
you're-
go in the building. Go on the
Not
property.
even across the street. If you're on the sidewalk,
Yes.
out from the building, you're fine. But being in Trump Tower, it's private property. You cannot do that. If they ask you to leave and you don't, you'll be arrested for trespass.
Somebody said yes,
Yeah.
it's a public place. He agreed with zoning. No,
I-
It's not a thing. If somebody owns a property, it is not a public place.
It's not.
The
It
government
says
does
Trump
not own
fucking
Trump
Tower on it. It says Trump Tower.
Right.
I got this. Enrique says, "Will you guys cash them if they come?"
You mean the checks? Call that guy.
Yeah, I know he means the checks. Yeah, will you leave cookies for Santa Claus, you stupid fuck? Jesus Christ, I cannot believe. Anyway, but BB, thank you for coming on. I'm going to try to get a couple more people on before we wrap things up here. But I appreciate you coming on, and
Be
please
safe.
feel free to come back anytime.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, we're
right,
creeping
thank
on
you.
it. We're creeping on an hour and a half.
Yeah, I know, and that's usually the point where things get a little sketchy. Let's see who we got here. This guy's been here for a while. I haven't gotten any warnings yet, so that's good. But who knows?
Somebody in the chat said, "Don't forget that Russia owns Trump Tower."
Well, that's
It's
pretty
true.
much true.
It's true.
Yeah, it's
Okay, we've got Skip coming in now. Skip, what's on your mind?
Well, basically, not a hell of a lot. The world is getting.
Well, look at the time.
Right on, man. You know how long I've been trying to get on this show?
I don't know. How long?
About.
Well, then use the time wisely.
When did
then.
you
Skip.
start it?
Well, I appreciate that. You know, we get a lot of people wanting to come on. I have a lot of other guests that are on here on a regular basis, and I wish I could get a lot more people on, but I do try to keep it within the hour and a half period because after that, the Trump-the-fucks start to howl at the moon, and then it puts the whole thing at risk. So you're here
Yeah,
now,
that's not
so
good.
what's on your mind right now?
Well, I don't really know because I've been waiting so long. But
Well,
at
Skip.
the same
Okay.
time,
I tell you what, I tell you what, Skip, you can make a complaint to the complaint department, and they'll send out the standard card that says, "I don't give a shit." I'm kidding.
oh no, let's
but
not do that.
go
I
ahead,
have
keep
complaints.
talking.
How in the world could we possibly straighten up our government?
Get rid of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. That'd be the first thing.
No, I'm talking about straightening up the government. I'm talking about actually eliminating our government and renewing it.
Like a reset?
Yes, we need.
Isn't
a
that what Donald
reset.
Trump is trying to do?
No,
Isn't that
we
what
don't
Donald
want that.
No, of course not.
We needed opposite of that, but not the same way. With all of the people of all of the time wanting it.
You know why we're in this position, Skip?
Yes,
Why?
because
Go
I
ahead.
didn't pay attention to politics.
Well,
I'm
it's not just
59
you.
years old, and I never paid attention to politics until Biden got elected. I
Right.
didn't even know Trump was president prior to that.
Well, no,
And
it's not. It's not just you,
I
Skip.
hear
It's
nothing
everybody.
more
We were
about him.
apathetic. We were apathetic for decades, and that's why we are where we are.
Okay, we need to knock that the hell off.
No shit. No shit. And we are. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. We're engaged now, and we're talking about it, and hopefully that makes a difference going forward.
Okay, but I keep hearing a whole bunch of, no solutions.
Well, the problem is we let it go too far, so our solutions are limited. That's why when I talk to Richard Green and he says, "Well, we'll just sit here and do nothing." Well, we can't do nothing. The only thing left for us to do is to get loud and push back and try to grab our power back. It seems like a minimal amount to do, but that's all we've got right now, given the position we've been put in by the electorate in this country. We let it go too far. We could have done a lot of things when Biden was in office or when Obama was in office, but the Democrats got lazy and they didn't do what they should have done. We could have codified Roe v. Wade. We could have done a lot of things. The fact of the matter is, you're right, and that's the troubling thing. Whenever I talk to a politician, I go, "What are we going to do?" I don't get an answer. So that leaves it to us to scream and yell and protest and push back and hope to God that fucking works.
Okay, so I'm listening to like Bernie Sanders, and I mean, he's making sense.
Yeah, absolutely, he's making
But,
sense.
I mean, really though, what is the solution to that particular situation? Because, I mean, he's got a good point, but where do we get the backing?
Well, the first step is to hopefully win in the special elections and gain control of the House. That's a long shot, but that's the first step. The next step after that is taking back the House and the Senate in the 2026 elections, and at that point, we're just in a holding pattern. It's a time thing. You voted for him. We voted for him for 4 years. If he survives that long, and I don't think he will, we're stuck. We're stuck in that respect, so we just got to make noise.
The trouble is, though, we have also voted for a whole bunch of other things that have never come true. And I don't know, man. I am really, really pissed. I don't care about myself. I'm 59 years old. Whatever happens, happens. But I've got children.
Exactly.
And I'm worried about them.
I'm worried about my kids and grandkids, too.
I don't know what to do. Do I ship them out of here?
No.
No,
Or do
I
I
don't think
stay
I
here?
No, we have a short term to deal with this. 4 years is all we're gonna. 4 years at most. 2 years, hopefully.
But that's if he doesn't get. If he gets his way, it's gonna be more than 4 years, and
He's going to
It's not going to happen.
No, he's going to implode. We see it now. He's starting to
Well, he's
lose.
stupid,
Yeah,
but he's
that's-
got backers.
No, yeah, the backers, but they're starting to lose it too. You're seeing implosion.
Yeah.
You're seeing people pushing back. You're seeing him losing his mind. Even with this disaster that was in the Senate today, we're still pushing forward now. As I said, we're going to confront this, and when we do, the first thing we do is get rid of. As I saw someone here, dark money in politics. The second thing we do is get term limits and get rid of old people like Chuck Schumer. And that's what's going to start the ball rolling. Once we get it, and we prune it, we rebuild everything from the roots, because the Constitution are the roots. We just
Age limits will, not term limits.
say again. No
Age
term
limits.
term limits. I don't want someone in there more than one or two cycles.
No. Age limits. We don't want term limits. We want age limits.
I hear that argument all the time. We
I'm
need
both
term
would
limits. We
actually
need
be
age
good.
limits, but they will never happen because Congress has to vote it
They have
against
to vote
themselves.
themselves out. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I mean, it's great to talk about term limits, but it's not going to happen. So unless we change some rules, so I hear that all the time, and yes, that would be great, but it's just not going to happen. They're not going to do that to themselves. Anyhow, we're coming to the end here. I appreciate everybody. Skip, thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, hey,
Eric?
Bender. You sound like you're talking underwater.
Okay, Skip, you're a smartass. I like that. All right. So anyways, guys, TJ the plumber, Will, Analytical Iowan, Eric, Rebecca, thank you for helping me out here. Makes the job a lot easier and a little more interesting. So I appreciate it.
Yep,
Thanks, Mike.
We kicked Trumplefuck's ass once again.
Nice.
Yeah.
For those of you listening, for those of you listening, thanks very much for taking the time. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye bye.